head-end process. That was the day that I suspended the head-end process.
Do you have anything to say to the volunteers you've released?
That the board released? Yes, we do thank them.
No, that you did. It was your decision.
The board made the decision. I advanced the idea. The board made the decision. They voted on it. I do thank them for the time, and they will get a letter. Thanks. A photocopy of the purported original was made available to Rob on September 23rd when there was a disagreement. That was the day that I suspended the head-end process. And Doug had a tape that he wanted to play on that day, which was a fourth Thursday. He came down to the station, gave Doug a copy of the tape along with a photocopy of this purported original that shows the third and fourth week. And Rob called me up shortly afterward and said that his recollection was that it was the third week only. And I said, well, that's my recollection too. So he said, what should I do? And I told him to go ahead and program the scheduled programming. And so we have a disagreement. I don't believe that this is an original document. I believe that it was manufactured on the 23rd of September or some other day. I don't believe that this is an original document. I believe that it was manufactured on the 23rd of September or some other day. I have no reason to really believe Sydney or Doug. They have lost any credibility that they might have had with me. They have repeatedly used vicious techniques, bullying tactics. In the publication Zoom, it's filled with half-truths, quotations taken out of context, personal attacks repeatedly. I do not trust someone's word when they say this is an original. I do not trust someone's word when they say this is an original, and they show up at the station on very short notice and say, well, it's the fourth week now, and Rob tells me that they essentially demanded that he cablecast the program and that they handed it back to him immediately after the program was over at 9:20 that evening. My feeling was that it was quite suspicious.
And I'm highly suspicious, and I find that suspicious.
I withheld the tape. My feeling is that any tape that is submitted for cablecasting is an archive copy. No one submits a master tape. I was a film student at one point. I've spoken to other people in production. No one believes that you submit a master tape.
No one
when I'm still presenting, you will have a full hour. So when the Munguias met with Rob immediately after the program was supposed to cablecast, which it did not through an error of Rob with the Mini T, he told them that they could not have the tape, that it was an archive copy. They were not at all pleased with that and insisted that they have the tape back. Rob refused. And within 15 minutes, the Munguias filed a police theft report with Arcata Police Department that this tape had been stolen. 7 minutes after the tape had, they filed that police report, I got a message on my answering machine saying that they want the tape back. I find this extremely suspicious. I think that they knew they were violating procedure, and in my view, they were making a false and misleading statement by presenting this program proposal, or a purported program proposal, to Rob. You could defend against, I suppose, well, I guess we have to look at a point of process now. I guess we need to go through all four of them in order to give you adequate time.
But while it's fresh, why don't you let us address what you just raised?
Right. Well, my hope is that you can defend against all 4 points within an hour, which is what we've agreed. So I'll leave it to you. You may have to cut your last one short. Well, my hope is that you can defend against all 4 points within an hour, which is what we've agreed. So I'll leave it to you. You may have to cut your last one short. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry that you're so suspicious, Roland, because I think that's a really sad way to walk through the world. The program was approved on August 5th. Program proposal was passed out to everybody. A lot of you got it. It's the same thing that this says. There was nothing manufactured. I resigned from the board. I was locked out of the office. And I was trying to arrange an opportunity to turn over the documents to somebody responsible. And in my opinion, Ruth Boyle was not responsible. And therefore, I still had the document in my possession. Douglas talked to Robert Amerman on the 21st about our program. Why wasn't it on the schedule, Rob? Gosh, I forgot to put it on there. That's what we were told. All we were doing was producing our show based on the agreement we had with the board. We happened to do a head-end on Thursday night, so yeah, we were coming down on Thursday night to put it on. Except 2 hours before we left the house, you called and fired all the head-end operators.
You're not employees.
Well, you dismissed 8 head-end operators.
I suspended
in order
the process.
Well, you're interrupting me now.
Yeah,
Do I get
I
to
guess I
address
should
all
stop.
of your suspicions? We happened to do a head-end on Thursday night, so yeah, we were coming down on Thursday night to put it on. Except 2 hours before we left the house, you called and fired all the head-end operators.
You're not employees.
Well, you dismissed 8 head-end operators.
I suspended the process.
Well, you're interrupting me now. Do
Yeah,
I get to
I guess I
address
should
all
stop.
of your suspicions? So we called Rob and we said, well, gosh, Rob, what do we do? You know, our show's supposed to be on tonight. We got the tape. Normally, we would have just brought it with us. But he said, well, I'll be here until 6, but if you're coming down, I'll stay a few minutes and you can drop it off. Which led us to believe everything was fine.
If you read page 2 through 6, it details it all.
We showed up at the station. Rob did wait for us, which was nice of him, because we didn't get there until 10 after 6. And again, he reassured us that he was going to put the tape on. And we were confused that there was, quote, confusion. He asked us to bring some kind of verification that the show was supposed to be on. And I had to look for that document and make a photocopy of it. But I brought it to him because it seemed to be important to him. I had no idea that any of you, him especially, given that he was present at that meeting, was confused that our time slot was any different from what that program proposal says that it is. There was a lot of discussion in August, and a lot of people in this room were in that meeting when that program was proposed. And 13 copies of that piece of paper were handed out. So yes, we gave Robert Amerman a copy of that. And we gave him our master edits. Not master tapes, but master edits. Why? The cablecast cleaner. It looks good. All the producers down there, if they want, they turn in a master edit tape, and then you pick it up after it's been cablecast. Never in my years at ACAD, or his 8 years at ACAD, had anybody had to submit an archive tape. That wasn't implemented in your rules and procedures until a month later. You invented that. That didn't exist at ACAD on September 23rd when we dropped off our tapes. We asked Amerman if we could pick them up, and he said, sure, you can pick them up at 9. That's when I'll be reloading the decks. We said, well, if we pick them up at 9, then the whole tapes, it's a 2-hour, 15-minute tape. Okay, well, you can pick them up at 20 after 9. So we did. We left there. We entrusted the tapes to Rob. He assured us he was going to put them on the air. We thought whatever confusion he had about this time slot was solved. So we go sit down in front of a television set, and at 7 o'clock, instead of our show coming on the air, a blank screen came on the air saying, we have temporarily lost our signal, blah, 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 which played for 1 hour and 45 minutes. At which point, we decided to go back down to ACAD and pick up our tapes. And when we got there, Robert Amerman slammed the door and told us, when he opened the door finally, after knocking for about 10 minutes, that our tapes were not there.
And that we wouldn't get them back.
And that we wouldn't get them back. And we asked him, well, why aren't our tapes here? Didn't you load them in the decks? And he said, no, I didn't. And so Douglas asked him, well, then where are our tapes? And he said, you can't have your tapes back. Those are archive tapes, and we're keeping them.